Hello all, I hope you're doing well today. I'm sure like me you may have some ambivalence towards Peter Hitchens. On the one side he's something of a seer, a chronicler of Western decline, was on it faster than anybody else and comes out with some gems at times that just nobody else can, due to his own intellect, his interesting working and family history, and with that the amount of places and things he's done in his journalistic life. But on the flip side, he's one of the most truculent men you could come across. He's prickly, he's spiky, and he could start an argument in an empty room. Despite his great insights, he always seems to have to be correct in a minority of one, and as much as he decries not being listened to for the past 25 to 30 years as Britain declines, you see even when somebody agrees with him, he doesn't like that either, presumably because, as I say, he always has to be correct in a minority of one, even when the country's burning. In some senses, he's the spiritual godfather to a sort of morose, cantankerous, old Anglican conservative boomer, which is why when he offers his advice to young people in this day and age, I take it very much with a pinch of salt.
Yes, I do tell people to leave the country if they can, but that's an important detail. The if they can bit is getting harder and harder to get out of here, not least because people in foreign countries have begun to realise what modern Britain is like. They've begun to spot what most of us already know, that nothing works. Our schools are useless, our universities are even worse, that we're not training people to be any use at doing anything, that we're very badly governed, that we don't know how to run anything. Why should they have us? If you want to get out, by all means try, but don't ask me where you should go. Don't assume before you try going that everybody will want you.
Now this is very much classic Hitchens doomerism with an excoriation of modern Britain, but you may have noticed here there's actually no practical advice for young people at all. I mean, all Hitchens states to that effect in this video is learn another language and move abroad, which is completely impractical. That's not going to solve the issues that young people in the West are facing. His general point is you need to get out while you can before the tyrannical state will get its claws into you. But of course there are two major problems with this. Number one, it's classic boomer individualist thinking, just about you and your own self, nothing about the collective, the history of the nation and your legacy. Hitchens' rhetoric reminds me of a phrase you hear from certain boomers in this day and age, which is, well, the country's going down the pan, but at least I won't be around for it. Well, great. Your children will, your grandchildren will, your great-grandchildren will, and so on. Your religion's gone down the pan, your country's going down the pan. Aren't you going to do anything? I mean, imagine if King Alfred had said, yeah, the Vikings have taken over all our strongholds, but I'll be dead soon, so, enjoy the slaughter. To my mind, Hitchens is not channeling the heroic English spirit here. He's channeling a morose know-it-allism combined with a nostalgic sentimentalism that doesn't help anybody. And this leads us to problem number 2 with Hitchens' statement. You hear this one a lot in this day and age. Well, Britain's going down the pan, so you should just leave. Well, leave where? Where can our people go? America, Canada, Australia, France, Germany, Poland, Eastern Europe, all of these places are going down the pan like we are. They're all under the same globalist liberal umbrella. Now, I know some people say, well, you can go to Dubai where it's tax-free or Singapore where there's some social order or whatever. And look, I understand that on a personal or a familial level. You want to feel safe. You want to be able to live a life where you can amass resources and support yourself. But the problem is we're just running away from the problem. We're leaving our civilization to burn and turning our back on our sacred spiritual and cultural lineage in favour of basically Thatcherite individualism. As well as the shady morality of that, you also have the problem of what's going to happen in the coming decades as the West falls apart more and more. There's no guarantee that you're going to be a welcome minority in other parts of the world. Now, given Hitchens' advice is essentially just more despair for young people, you have to start asking the question whether the politics of a Peter Hitchens has also had its day and it's time for something new. Now, I think we are seeing that politics develop at the moment on the right. There's obviously a turn back to identity. On top of that, there's a wariness of the global market and individualism as corrosive forces rather than productive ones. There's also a turn back to tradition and earthiness and roots in a vital sense, i.e. it's not the sort of austere, quiet Anglicanism of a Peter Hitchens. It's something much more vital and raw, almost coming up from the earth itself. So the key question for me isn't so much where do we run to, but what alliances do we make to shape the new era of politics and even civilization? Now, the longer I've been working on this channel, the more I've started to believe that the solutions are just not on the national level. There's not much you can really do because you're up against an international force, arguably a global force. It is called globalism after all. Now, I don't think I'm being hyperbolic when I say the problems that Britain and Europe and the West faces are civilizational at root. That's what's at stake here. So it seems to me it's only on that level that any true meaningful rejuvenation can be held. I know we hear a lot from the BBC and the Guardian about, black people invented the West, Muslims invented the West, Jews invented the West, the pygmy shrew tribe out of Brazil invented the West, whatever they're coming up with this week. But in reality, we all know that the Europeans invented the West, and nobody else is going to shepherd the future of Western civilization. We have to realise that nobody is coming to save us or Western civilization. Judging by the rhetoric of the globalist liberal mainstream, it's quite the opposite. So it's like we need to go through a sort of reawakening to learn to see beyond the national and to work alongside one another in the interest of our shared tradition and for the future. It's either that or we tolerance and diversity ourselves into total oblivion. But the harsh truth is we're just not in the spiritual or psychological state to be at the heart of any reawakening yet. We need to let the starbots of the world rule the roost. As ugly as it is, they need to destroy everything around them because the destruction is always the precursor to the realization. And essentially, the reawakening has already begun. We're just on the dark shadow side of it at the moment. In essence, you have to let one cycle end before the next one can begin. In the meantime, you can focus on ridding your own self of the darkness within, re-understanding sacred order and the traditions of the past. This is what I focus on the sister channel, The Sacred Way. Do check it out down below. You can also join the Substack for exclusive content, to join the group conversations for the big plans in 2026 as well. Other than that, let me know your thoughts down below. Do consider subscribing to the channel if you're new.